Bigfoot Club for life.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bigfoot Club. Robert Jesse Dominguez, Ash Tucker, Chris Collins, Steven Robert Dominguez, Earl the Pearl Kennedy. Believe in us, believe in Bigfoot Club, because we are too sweet.
Hey everybody, Bigfoot Club Season 2, Episode 21. With me today is Ash and Steven. Hey guys, how's it going?
How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty.
We're both waiting for the other one to answer. We had to think about it.
Yeah. It's been, what, 2 weeks since we did a show? Steven, how long has it been since you did a show?
I feel like it's been 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
3 or 4 weeks.
You were before Brad Freeman, right? And Cecilia. You didn't do Cecilia, right? Cecilia, Crazy Cat Paranormal?
No.
No. Okay.
And it's just me.
Yeah, it was just you. Okay. So, yeah. I wanted to start off the show with last week. I was in South Dakota.
Yeah.
And I got some messages from people with Pentex, and they was referring to a person that's in South Texas that runs a group. I'm not going to say his name or his group's name, but he was stepping down as the founder of the group, and his sister was taking over, and they were messaging me, and like I didn't even ask for this information; they were just giving it to me. Somebody in Pentex, and then I had another person from Pentex message me, and I was in a hotel. And I know you guys. I didn't tell about this incident until I got back.
Yeah.
But this other person was messaging me that, hey, what was I aware of this? And like earlier in the week, somebody on another Facebook group had posted that somebody was acting inappropriately in the paranormal field in Texas.
Right.
So apparently, I talked to a couple other people from Pentex, and I couldn't, for some reason, I'm not going to say who they are, but I was just talking to them as well, and they were, so when I was in the hotel, I was getting these texts and I was getting these messages about this person in our group that was a part of another group that was acting inappropriate, like sending, I guess, women members like texts and messages and stuff. And so the next day I got up, I called Brad Freeman. I didn't message him, I just called him. I said, hey man, I'm in South Dakota. I don't have time to look through all this stuff, read all these messages. Can you just investigate this? And if this guy is really doing all this stuff, get him out of the group, whatever. So, and Brad did a really good job. He did a really good job in of this guy that was messaging these women, and it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm glad that it didn't happen to me.
Yeah.
And haven't been, as I'm sure every single person of my gender and outside of it as well too, I've gotten plenty of unsolicited things like that. It's not okay. To a certain extent, I'm pretty sure in this state that it's illegal to do things like that.
Steven?
Yeah, I just think it's very unprofessional that this person did that. And I don't know, people like that work so hard on making a little, whether it was a side thing or a career, something he's passionate about.
Yeah.
He took advantage of it, and he took advantage of the people that probably looked up to him, and that kind of just
right.
He's gonna be now known as that guy instead of that a paranormal researcher.
He should have thought about that, because he people like that seek out positions of power so that they can exploit those below them to get their own personal needs met.
I mean, I'm just shooting. Right. I'm shooting in the dark, but I'm willing to bet that he wasn't popular.
Yeah.
And then he got this role, and he's got some status, and then he just took advantage of it, which was super uncool. And,
Absolutely.
And so Brad and Lauren Gonzalez, they actually X'd this guy out of the group. Like before I made it back from South Dakota, told me he goes, it's done. I go, cool. And then whenever that happened, I was in the hotel room, and I drafted up an email, not email, but a post saying that, hey, this was brought to Penn, Texas attention that somebody was acting inappropriately in other groups and in events. Penn, Texas doesn't stand for that, doesn't tolerate it. So if anybody in the group were to experience that, to let us know right away. Mm-hmm. So it's up as a announcement, so it's at the very top all the time, so people can see it. And so I just think that I go, man, because like I'm gonna say this, we were supposed to interview this guy,
Yeah.
and something told me in my gut not to do it, and I didn't do it, and I'm really glad I didn't, because if we did, I'd have to pull it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was just,
Well, things work, and that way, I guess it was a good thing you did.
yeah.
Yeah, I kind of had my reservations, I think I mentioned it before. It's like, because it'd be like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why. It was like, I didn't even,
know the guy, right?
know him. I'd seen a few posts and things here or there. It's just like something just
Yeah.
didn't sit right with me.
And what I'll say is that he had a podcast too. Mm-hmm. So and I before he did the podcast, he was putting together like a network, paranormal network, and so I leaned on him a couple of times for a couple of cases. I called him a couple of times. I said, "Hey, man, you got someone in Odessa? Hey, you got someone in McAllen? Somewhere." Mm-hmm. And then he would talk. He would talk to me, and then we were messaging each other like back and forth. And then I think I broke down and said, "You know what? I'm just gonna call him." So I called him, and I talked to him on the phone one time. And he was talking to me in a tone like very, very condescending, a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, to me, that was like, he was like questioning me about, how to research or how to, talk to eyewitness or a potential client. Mm. And I was like thinking, I said, okay, all right, that's cool. All right. Well, do you want
didn't ask for his advice. You threw him a bone.
Yeah. I go, do you want the case? Yes or no? And so he said, let me look into it. I go, okay. So
pretentious as fuck.
So I ended up giving it to Brad.
Yeah.
Freeman. And, he took care of it. Freeman. I'm gonna start doing that to him. Freeman. But he took care of this guy. He took care of him when this other guy couldn't take care of him, and then when this other dude couldn't take care of him, Brad Freeman took care of him. So, but Brad's the man. I love him. He's a good dude. Yeah. That's all he cares about, is helping people. He doesn't care about doing Zoom and stuff. Oh, did I say that out loud? Sorry.
Oops. Yeah, it's better that they were. That's why I'm not in that sort of position anywhere, because if something like that had been brought to me, I don't know how I would have handled it, because I have my issues with that sort of thing, and I think everybody should, but yeah, when I first heard that, it just made my skin crawl and my stomach turn.
I mean, the paranormal group is not a dating site.
No, and unfortunately, that's kind of one of the things that, not just with the paranormal, but with the Bigfoot community and stuff, that made me want to separate myself from it, because I'd have all these people in my inbox.
Yeah. People want to go to the woods with you, man.
Yeah, and things like that, and just or they would add me just wanting to network, and then just be on my profile or whatever in my inbox, and just like, ugh, That's not what this is about.
Yeah. People want to go to the woods with you, man.
Too damn bad. I only go with quality people, not skeezies.
Skeezies, I like that.
Yeah.
I always say all the time, just because you like Bigfoot doesn't mean I got to go to the woods with you.
Chances are I don't want to because you're a fanatic.
Yeah.
Oops. That's the sort of thing that makes everybody, make fun of us, right?
Oh, yeah,
It takes away our credibility.
BFRO, you talking about?
Well, whatever. Shout out because they're big fans.
Yeah. Whenever I post this on the BFRO, I'm gonna tag that girl, the one that was complaining about last week's podcast. So I'm gonna tag her on it. Here you go.
Oh,
here you go.
She's gonna clutch her pearls.
So,
well, I've got to say something. Whether you got a negative or positive comment, it's from the BF or someone from the BFRO.
Yeah, I posted like the last week's show, the one Dark Side of the Insanity interview. I posted on one of the. Actually, they have two. Mm-hmm. One run by Matt Moneymaker, and the other one's run by someone else. But I posted on the BFRO Facebook page, and some lady, I'm not going to say her name because that would be.
But he's going to tag her later.
So she posted. They go, see, this is the reason why I'm doing her voice too. This is the reason why no one takes the Bigfoot community seriously. And then I loved her comment.
You motherfucker.
I loved her comment, and then I go, awesome. I know I have a fan in here now. So,
yeah.
But she never responded.
Yeah.
She never
said what, like, just the whole entire episode or what. I'm like, there's a lot worse.
Yeah. It's all good, man.
Because we're brats, I don't give a fuck.
I don't really care what someone.
If you got a skin that thin, you don't need to be in the community.
One person from the BFRO, it's not gonna make or break me. I don't care.
BFRO lost their accountability in 2001.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kato Kalin.
Pro.
Kato Kalin. That's what I call him. Kato Kalin. Rick Knoll. He looks like Kato Kalin. So, anywho, so Bigfoot. I wanted this week to talk about Bigfoot Magazine, and this is a sore subject with me, and to be honest, I don't really like talking about it, but it's something I need to do. I need to get it off my chest. It was like before I met you, right?
It's about the same time.
Yeah, it was like, that was in 05?
6.
06? Because I think I came up with the idea in 05. And it kind of grew. And so Bigfoot Magazine was an idea that I had of doing a magazine like Fate Magazine. I don't know if you've ever seen Fate Magazine. No?
Mm-hmm.
It was
probably.
It was a cryptozoology magazine that was out for a while, and then
I knew of it. I lived there.
Yeah, and then they stopped selling it, and then they did it online. So
right.
But it was something like that. I loved Fate Magazine, and they did everything that did UFO, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, Ghost, whatever. So it was the idea I had of doing a magazine. So at the time, I was working at 1505 Elm. And there was a guy in the building that was doing magazines there. And so I kind of threw the idea to him, and he did some research for me, crunched some numbers, and came up with some, numbers that I needed to get a magazine off the ground, printing, all that stuff. And it was excessive. It's like big time bucks. And so, at the time, my sister passed away in 2006, and I got custody of Steven. And so at the time, and I'll it's hard for me to admit this, is that I struggled for a while.
Well, that's
as a single parent,
understandable.
Yeah, as a single parent, I struggled for a while, and so I had to rethink how I was going to do Bigfoot Magazine. So I no longer wanted to do it as a magazine. I said, you know what, let's do it an online magazine. So what do you recall from there, Steven? At the time.
Well, yeah. Your sister, my mom, passed away, and yeah, it was a it was a hard time for both of us. I know, like you said, as a single parent, taking care of me. But as far as the magazine goes, like I remember you had to reiterate your thought process on it being a physical to online.
Yeah,
which I supported 100% too. Like maybe that will probably be easier, you know, to launch a website or something like that for online. But yeah, that's what I remember on that from where you're going.
Because I think at the time, I was still talking with a lot of guys that used to be in the TBRC, and so I was talking to Tim Clay about it, and I was talking to this other guy named Chad Scott, which I've never mentioned before on this podcast. He was the Oklahoma lead in the TBRC. He was, I think he was out of Ardmore, and he had like 4 guys under him. And I got, he didn't get along with Craig, so I instantly became friends with him. So he and I got really close, like really quick.
Speaking of pervs and people's inboxes.
Yeah. So I was talking to him about the magazine, and he introduced me to this guy named Matt Knapp out of Tulsa. And I had seen Matt online a couple times and posting stuff, and I think it was the Alabama Bigfoot Alabama chat rooms and stuff like that. So
OG, man.
Yeah, big time. So he was on there, and we ended up talking on the phone a lot, and then we were chatting online a lot and stuff, and really liked the dude, man. He's a good dude. He was very articulate and spoke really, really logically about Bigfoot and ideas and stuff. His ideas kind of mirrored mine, and so so I had pitched the idea to him, to Matt and to Chad and to Tim about all of us doing this magazine. And I think at the time, this kind of hurts me a little bit, but Tim and I didn't see eye to eye on some stuff, and I love him to death, and it hurts me to say that.
It happens.
Yeah.
In every relationship.
Yeah.
And friendship and family, whatever.
So Tim went about doing something else, and then I continued on with Chad and Matt. And then I had the idea of moving up to Tulsa. So
best idea ever.
So I remember I approached this to Steven, and Steven, were you weren't a big fan of moving to Tulsa, were you? Or were you?
No, I was not a big fan. But I remember, there was like I remember I had the idea of moving in with my friends after high school and getting ourselves our own apartment. The only problem was they didn't have a job.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
So I was like, well, it's going to be kind of hard. It's probably going to be a lot harder for me to carry them and while we have an apartment, let alone me working at, I think I was working at Movie Trade.
Yeah.
At the time or something like that.
Yeah.
For one summer, and I was thinking about going back. But, so I was like, you know what? No, I think it's a sign. Let me just go with Robert and make sure everything goes swell there, because he's going to be by himself, and I don't want him being by himself. So I'm just going to go with him. So
yeah, because I think before we went to Tulsa, we went to the first annual Honolulu Bigfoot conference. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that, Steven?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It was like we drove up there, and I remember at the time there was a guy that was working with me. He was a valet, and he knew somebody in Mexico, and he printed off a bunch of Bigfoot Magazine T-shirts for me.
No.
And so,
what happened to those?
You know what? I still have like 20.
Really?
Yeah, I still have
Why
one.
don't I have one?
I'll give you one after this.
Bullshit. I waited on that magazine for like years, and you can't even give me a
For
fucking
10 years, man. It's been 15 years, man.
It literally has.
Yeah, as soon as the show's over, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna pull it out. I'm gonna give you a shirt.
Dope.
So,
And the first 5 no.
but it actually, it actually sold pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I went through like 2 orders, and so I was ordering it from like Mexico, and it was like really cheap.
Well,
So
you're exploiting your own people.
the heritage.
Uh,
So yeah, before we went up to Tulsa, I drove up to Honolulu. It was the first annual Bigfoot conference, and I think there was some groups up there, but I can't remember who it was. It was like Mid America Bigfoot group. I don't know. I can't remember.
right.
But I drove up there. I think Steven and I drove up there. I think it was on a Friday or Thursday. And it took us a while to get up there. And I was driving the Silver Bullet at the time, and Silver Bullet was my old car.
Not a can of Coors Light.
Yeah. So yeah, because I was already sober at the time. So I drove up there, and I remember driving up there, and I reserved a spot, and it was like a huge campground. Mm-hmm. I reserved a spot, and so I walked up there, and I asked the lady. I said, "Hey, my name is Robert Dominguez. I'm with Bigfoot Magazine. I reserved a spot here." And she goes, "Oh, well, I'm sorry. I ran out of tables. You don't have a spot." I told her, I go, "Come on. I mean, I drove all the way. I drove like 6 hours up here." I said, "No, I got to have tables." She goes, "I'm sorry, honey. I'm too busy." And so I stepped back for a second. I go, "Okay. Time for me to turn on this Dominguez charm." So then, I shrugged my shoulders, leaned into her a little bit, and I go, "Hey, those are some nice earrings." And she goes, "Oh, you like them?" I said, "I love them. They match." I go, "They match your outfit. Everything is perfect." She goes, "Henry, go to the cafeteria and go grab a table for this young man."
She knew what you were doing.
So the guy walked over there, grabbed me a table.
She was bullshitting. She was just in a mood and didn't want to get a table. If they went and could find you a table, that means they had tables.
So I go, can I pick the spot anywhere? She goes, "Anywhere you want." That's okay. So I go over there and I put the table down, and I put it like right on a turn where everybody was turning to go back into all the activities. And
we had a good spot.
Yeah, we had a really good spot. And up walks Todd Partey. And
Just so happened.
I know, and I hadn't seen him since Longview. So
And
I go, "Todd." He goes, "Robert." And we walk up to each other, and so I go, "So what are you doing here?" He says, "I'm supposed to have a table. I don't have one." I said, "I got plenty of room on my table. You want to sit down next to me?" He goes, "Oh, absolutely."
Yeah.
So the rest of the day, or the rest of the time there, I sold T-shirts. He interviewed people, and so I was helping him with his interviews because he was at the time he was working on his second documentary, but I don't think he ever released.
really?
Yeah, so we were interviewing people, and I think we ran into Steven. Help me on this guy. I can't remember the Native American guy that was in Oklahoma City. Do you remember what was his name?
Oh, Mike? Is it Mike?
I think so, but I can't think of his last name.
Man, I can't think of his name.
But we interviewed him there, and then that eventually led us to go to the Concho.
Yeah, that's right. That's where we met him.
So we met him there. He interviewed there. And I talked so much about Bigfoot Magazine that at that time. I think on the second day, I lost my voice.
Wow.
Yep.
And I told Steven, whenever we were driving back, I go, "If you want to use the restroom, I go, point down. If you want to eat, point at your mouth. I'm not talking the rest of the way home."
But why was he not allowed to talk?
No. I mean, if he wanted me to talk to him, that's what I meant. But if you want to just, I'm not talking. So,
But he could have just verbally said,
Yeah.
he had his voice.
so
So I was like, "Hey, Robert, how was your day?" You know how my day
Oh
was.
my gosh.
yeah.
All these words.
But
Yeah.
so we met Todd, and I pitched the idea to Todd about Bigfoot Magazine, and he was extremely interested in it because he had the idea of doing Bigfoot TV. So I said, well, let's throw this together. Let's do Bigfoot Magazine and Bigfoot TV together, and we'll offer it as a package.
He ended up doing a documentary on Katrina, didn't he? Or Ike, I think.
I don't remember, but I would
About the same time, because I remember he was on Kid Craddock, and they gave him shit about the Bigfoot stuff. Like, he didn't want to talk about it.
Really?
But, yeah. Not really, but they're just like, whatever. But, yeah, I was like, I know that guy.
Man, I wish I'd heard that. I got to go back and try to find that.
It's from about the same time,
Yeah.
Because that's, when I was listening to that, it was when I was delivery driver. So, yeah, that was the same time I met all you guys.
Yeah, he was fairly new about Bigfoot, and because I know he asked me a ton of questions about stuff, and so whenever we did end up going to Concho, I do remember that whenever I got out of the vehicle. And it was getting really late. It was getting dark, and I got out of the vehicle to go do some tree knocks. They were the Native American guy and Todd were freaking out. Goes, where you going? We'll do some tree
Go
knocks.
say hello.
I'm gonna do some tree knocks. So
Something happens to my uncle. I want to be there.
When I was driving your car when you were in South Dakota,
yeah,
I forgot that you have that nightstick in there, and I was just like, if I get pulled over, how do I explain that?
just what I always say, what I always think all the time. It said, I'm training to be an armed security guard.
Oh,
and
okay. I just was going to tell him the truth because you have a Bigfoot air freshener. But like that seems like it would be quirky and I wouldn't get in trouble.
Yeah.
But
Anytime I think about that, I always say I'm training to be an armed security guard.
yeah,
So,
well,
so but so I pitched the idea to Todd. Todd liked it, and so he was going to be a part of it, but like a separate entity. He's going to be Bigfoot TV. I was going to be Bigfoot Magazine. And so at the time, I packed all our stuff up, and I packed Steven up too.
did you put him in a box?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
So did.
we drove up to Tulsa, only knowing two people. Chad Scott, because Chad moved from Ardmore to Tulsa, and Matt Knapp. That's the only two people I knew. And when I got there, I had enough money for a deposit, had enough money for the first rent and like gas and food for the first month. I had enough money for that.
Well, that's usually how you do it, isn't it?
So,
Well, I guess not,
and I think at the time I had the hardest time finding a job.
Yeah.
I mean, I applied everywhere.
That was not great times for that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
I applied everywhere: casinos, grocery stores, McDonald's, Wendy's, warehouses, hospitals, and you named it. I applied at it, and I couldn't get a security license there, and that drove me insane.
Yeah, Oklahoma's hard.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so what are your thoughts on that, Steven? Whenever we first moved up there, so
It was exciting. It was just like any other move. It's someplace new.
yeah,
But yeah, we struggled a lot to get a job. You eventually found a job before me because you had luckily you had the experience. But like I was just fresh out of high school and I only had like two jobs,
movie trade,
like a warehouse, movie trade and
that
a warehouse job.
Yeah,
Dude, I feel that.
And
That's whenever I was on the struggle bus too. I was 20,
yeah,
22 when I moved back to Arkansas. That was about the same time.
yeah.
yeah. I think I had an interview with what was that sports store Academy?
Oh yeah.
Academy.
Yeah.
Had an interview with Reesners.
Reasoners, yeah.
And vintage stock. That one pissed me off.
Yeah.
Vintage stock was just it was movie trade, but it was I guess like a third party for vintage stock. And then I went to my interview. It was a group interview.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Didn't they interview you in a group interview? That was the dumbest. It was
a group. Yeah, it was a group interview with 3 supervisors, and we all like did like musical chairs or something. And it was
humiliating.
It is.
It was very humiliating. It was so confusing. And when Robert said, "How did it go?" I guess it went good. I mean, I won on the musical chairs, but
I feel extremely debased and confused.
That sounds lazy to me.
Like, it is.
Like they didn't want to actually read applications or resumes.
Yeah, they just, and then they asked me like 3 questions each one, and okay, don't call us, we'll call you. Okay.
What a bunch of bitches.
Yeah, but eventually I remember I got that seasonal job at GameStop.
Yeah.
During the holiday season, so that was kind of cool until it lasted, and then I got to meet Miley Cyrus there.
Oh yeah, cool. I forgot about that
at GameStop.
Yeah, at GameStop at that mall.
Did she just come in randomly, or was she doing like a thing?
No, I was the greeter at GameStop. They just told me, hey, you know, there's so much people coming in and out. Like, just stand in the entrance and greet people. I was like, okay, cool, you know. And so I was like, you know, hey, you know, GameStop, hey, welcome to GameStop. And she bumped into me. And I was like, oh, and I looked at her and I was like, well, you know, I only liked like one song. And I was like, oh, hey, my name's just like, hey, what's up? And then there's like this big black dude that was like, I guess her security guard. He looked like he was like 7 feet tall. He was like looking at me like I did. I go, oh, hey, you know, hey, how's it going, man? He didn't know until he saw like my name tag at GameStop and put 2 and 2 together. He's like, oh, okay. He thought I was just like trying to bum rush her, but she bumped into me. So
I had that literally happen to me with Neil McCoy. Like he literally.
Oh, really?
He literally like plowed me over in Walmart in Longview one time.
Nice.
Jeez.
Where was he going?
He was just talking and turned around and wasn't paying attention. Just walked right into me.
Okay. I thought maybe he was going toward like the cheese sticks or something.
No, it was the light bulb section.
He had an idea.
The light bulb section.
Well, it's a big deal because, you know, he's like Longview's token native son besides like, well, I guess McConaughey's from Kilgore, but they still tried, you know, he was a Lobo, but he don't ever shop out and hang out. Neil McCoy lives there. So it's like,
right.
Oh, I seen it.
I got run over.
Run over by Neil McCoy.
So,
gee, I got the job there at GameStop, and then it ended, and I struggled a little bit after that, but it wasn't as bad as the first time.
Yeah.
Because remember, that's whenever you come in. That's where you didn't even say what your first job was. So yeah, talk to you about your first job.
Yeah.
There.
I think I finally got a job as Service Master, and I'll backtrack real quick. I got a job at Reasoners because the guy that interviewed me was from Irving. So he hired me. And so I was in orientation. And I was in orientation. They sent me to a food handler class. And so I had to spend $13 on a food handler's class because if you handle food, you have to have a license.
Yeah, but in Oklahoma make you pay for everything out of pocket.
Yeah.
No offense to Oklahomians, but
yeah,
that sucks when you're trying to get a job and you have to pay for your licensing before you get the actual job. So
I'm in class, you know, taking this test on like, you know, how to handle food and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I get a call from Service Master saying that, hey, they're going to hire, because it was like really, I took anything. It was like $8.
Right. Well, back then, $8.
Yeah.
It's above minimum, you know.
So, and then Service Master called me and it was like, they wanted to pay me $13. And if I got called out, it was $15. I go, I'll take it. And I walked out. I walked out of that class. I go, see ya. I walked out.
Yeah.
And I went to go work for Service Master. Service Master was a great job. It was a water restoration group. And they were good, but it's just, you know, if there's no floods, you know, you don't have work. And so I eventually got I eventually got a job with Dish Network as a facilities person there, and I practically begged for that job. It was probably the best job I ever had, but it was like the least amount of money I've ever made.
Ugh. That's always how it goes, right?
Yeah. So it was a good job. I had a really good boss. He was awesome. He and then eventually we got Steven on as a dispatcher. And so
Say that 3 times fast.
I know.
You had the problem with the one.
So Steven, you were pretty happy there, weren't you?
Oh yes. Oh yes. I was just happy that I had a job. And to
You were actually
make things.
you were actually getting paid more than I was.
Yeah, I was getting paid more than you, and I thought that was so weird. But yeah, got me a job there. I thought my interview was like I bombed on it because it was Sylvia that interviewed me.
Oh yeah, the bones.
Yeah, and then she hated me. I feel like she hated me. And then she ended up being my supervisor for a while too. And I was like, oh god.
She had a stack of bones. She had a stack of animal bones at her desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she had a Ouija board mouse pad.
Yeah, and so Ouija board's not, that to me, the mouse is not a big deal, but bones.
Huawei.
The bones.
Yeah.
Like,
what?
consult the bones, and she would like throw them down.
Really?
Yeah.
Whatever. That's cool.
Yeah. It was,
I mean,
at work, I don't know. It's kind of scary.
Whatever. I keep my cards in my bag, and I don't do it at
work, right? You don't do it at
I do
work.
it at work, but like when nobody's there.
Right.
Just because I don't like to talk about it, and that's something
she had it out where everybody could see it.
Well, whatever, if that's what it is. But I don't, with me, it's like a private conversation. Some people aren't that way.
Yeah,
it's private.
It was a joke. It was a running joke between you and
Clifton.
I wonder if it's okay to say his name, Clifton.
Clifton.
Where I would say like I was so used. It had someone. There was a lot of freedom there, and I wasn't used to it.
Yeah.
So I was all like, "Hey, I'm gonna go take my lunch right now," and she would kind of give me pushback, like, "Well, it's getting kind of busy right now. Could you, sit back down?" And I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess I'm not going to lunch." So every time I think I brought that to you and Clifton, you made a joke saying like, "Let's consult the bones first."
Yeah.
No, it's too busy. You can't. I'm sorry, the bones.
I would bother. Like I do that all the time with because I can't read for myself. And it's such a pain in the ass because I know what I want to hear.
Yeah.
And when I do a reading, I usually don't want to hear I sometimes would rather not know the question if it's in person.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise I'm going to try to interpret it the way I think it should, instead of what it actually says. But yeah, I bother people. I'm like, just do this for me about this dude, okay?
Which 98% of all readings from everybody would probably tell you that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, but it was a running joke with us. Bones, but
yeah, I did like. I wish I stayed there.
I didn't mean nothing by it though.
Maybe you should have asked her to do that and got some guidance when you're in Oklahoma.
Yeah, should have. So. I think after that, during the time with Service Master and Dish Network, I was at Matt's house a lot, and he, and I'll say this, he's a great dude. I love him to death. I haven't talked to him in a long time. He's a great dude. I cannot say enough good things about him. He fed me when I didn't have any money or food. And he insisted I stay there. He said, I think a couple times he wanted me to get out of the apartment and just live there. And I said, I don't know if I can do that. I got to sleep in my own bed. But he's a good dude, man. He offered me everything: his shirt, food, a vehicle, whenever I needed it. So he was like before Steven and I found a job, I would just drop off Steven over at Matt's and I'd go to work. And him and Matt would just hang out all day and talk video games and Bigfoot or whatever, and so it was good. I mean, he was a good dude. And I'll say this I was really close with Chad Scott a lot. We talked every day when we were in the TBRC, but as soon as I moved to Tulsa, the dude just quit talking to me. It was like I lived 7 blocks from the dude.
So you live closer to him, man.
I'm familiar with that, man.
Yeah, you're experiencing that now, aren't you?
Well, I mean, on some level, we're all older now, but on another level, it's like, what the fuck, man?
I mean,
I move closer to you and then you ghost me. What the
yeah,
hell?
it's like, I mean, I went to bat for this dude a lot.
Right.
Like, because like Craig didn't like him at all, and Craig would always like talk shit about him all the time, and I defended him a lot. And so I'll be honest, I'm not lying, I'm not making this up. I defended him, and so whenever I moved to Tulsa, it's like, you know, he ghosted me, like Steven said. You know, he ghosted me. So, but you know, it's cool. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at him.
You can't always take things like that aren't always on purpose or personally. You know, life just happens.
Yeah.
You get caught up in your own
I know, but
stuff and-
I moved there
right
for them.
for them. But yeah.
So,
Yeah.
about the magazine is just at the time we had the idea of just doing online stuff, and we were gonna all of us gonna write articles, and we wanted to present people that we thought that need to be brought into the light, like, you know, John Bennernagel, Luke Gross, Eric Altman, Mike Frizzell, Robert W. Morgan, just people that we liked. And what
I was just thinking about that meme that I saw that I showed you with the typo in it.
oh, Krantz or
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna say that though.
It was spelled. They misspelled his name's Kuntz.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I said that's what Renee DeHendens called him.
Yeah. So yeah, we wanted to do articles about stuff like that, and I had the idea for a comic book, and we were gonna do a comic book onto the website, and the idea I had was, and this was Matt's idea and Chad's idea too, is that we were gonna do a young Bigfoot with a young Native American girl that she lost her family to the U.S. Cavalry, and he was the young Bigfoot was pushed out of the woods by a fire, and so he lost his tribe. So I was going to call it Lost Tribes. They were together, and they were going to like cross over the U.S. To find relatives, and they were going to run into like, you know, historical people. And so that was the idea I had, and I know I pitched that in Longview, right?
Yeah,
So
vaguely. I think you had like a little
Mock-up.
yeah,
didn't you?
Yeah.
So that was the idea I had. Do you remember that, Steven?
Yeah, I do remember. I was like, why? Because it sounds familiar until you said Lost Tribes. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, I remember. I still think that should be
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
brought
you
into
can still
life.
do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I want to do it.
You sound really enthusiastic.
No, I want to do it, but like part of it's like, you know, Chad's idea
Yeah.
and Matt's idea.
Well-
So if I were to do it, I had to collectively ask them it's okay if I do it.
I mean, you could do that.
Yeah,
That's very nice of you.
yeah. Because like I don't want to get.
If there's no bad blood, just be like,
I might be liable after Chad hears this. So
Well, I mean, it's just business.
shit happens. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like with bands, man. You can be totally
Best friends with somebody and then try to work with them and just be like, it doesn't work. you
I mean,
know?
I'm not mad at him.
yeah.
I'm you know he at the time he got married and he was focused on his family and
Yeah,
that's
I mean
cool.
that happens. I mean, that's just kind of what my deal when I moved out here. That's kind of the deal is. It's like I'm single and unmarried with no kids, but
Yeah.
most of my friends are not anymore. You know, it happens.
Yeah, shit happens. So
you shouldn't refer to children.
That way.
well, I meant like, I didn't mean by the kids. I meant like friendships that
Yeah.
come and go. So
No, shit happens. Shit happens.
I mean, just because you don't talk every day doesn't mean you're not still friends. I mean, if you're not on bad terms or anything like that, I mean, friendships wax and wane.
man, I haven't talked to Matt in about I want to say 4 years.
It happens.
And
I mean,
Chad is probably longer than that. Probably like almost going on 10, maybe 7.
well, I mean,
He probably already forgot about me. Matt probably hadn't. Matt, what's up, brother? But anyway,
are you listening?
if you're listening, what's up,
Do you want to go on the show?
Yeah.
Marco Kane?
Kane Marco.
Oh yeah,
Bring Roddy onto the show too, Matt,
Yeah.
if you can.
yeah, he can swim on the couch. So,
Oh, sorry.
but Matt had this friend that was living with him. His name is Roddy, And Steven, I dropped off Steven there like one day, and Steven told me like afterwards when I picked him up, went home, and he said that Roddy was sleeping on the couch and that it looked like he was doing a swimming motion. Like he's like raised his arm up, like he's sleeping on his stomach. Mm-hmm. He raised his arm up and took a breath.
Maybe he was
swimming on the. So ever since then, we used to joke him about swimming on the couch.
Like I remember sitting on that little recliner chair. Oh, that was like our favorite chair. And Matt was like right by the front door smoking, and we were like talking. I forgot what we were talking about, and then like Roddy did like and we stopped and we looked at him, and he started kicking his legs. I was like, what the hell?
He was having a puppy dream.
He was kicking his legs, and then he arched his arm up, and I go, and then Nav goes, "Is this motherfucker swimming?" And then I go, "No, I don't think so." And then right whenever he arched his arm, he goes, "I go, mother!" We started laughing.
Man.
We were laughing. We were like, "Holy, what? He's swimming in his dream."
Yeah, I've seen shit like that.
Oh man,
that's funny. That's some funny shit.
I've dated people that do shit like that.
Sleep to swim on the couch.
Not necessarily swim, but just like do things weird in their sleep.
Oh,
like,
I see.
Like point and whatever.
Like and we felt bad. Like, oh man, what if he drowns? You know?
Yeah.
Like, should we save him? Or what's going on?
You'll freak out if water starts pouring out of his mouth.
I know that would be like supernatural.
Oh, that would be weird.
Oh man.
So
that would be weird.
So we were, I was talking to Matt about, about the ideas and stuff like that. And so we all agreed on the comic book, and we agreed about doing a website. And because the thing at the time, none of us knew anything about websites, nothing at all. And
not even MySpace.
I mean, we had that. We had all that.
Remember when we all knew how to do coding?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Facebook was starting to kick off right there.
Yeah.
Like, I think we all started ignoring MySpace.
Yeah.
And just going straight to Facebook.
Well, because that's around the time that they went public and sold to all these companies and had all this adware and shit, and it was just like basically would give your computer cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think at the time before this, we were doing. You probably don't recall this, but we were doing in GeoCities, then Yahoo e-groups.
Mm-hmm. I recall Angel Fire.
Yeah, Angel Fire, and it was like that was a good time.
That's where my webpage was.
That was a good time, wasn't it?
Yeah. The early aughts.
Yeah. So
my teenage years.
But we didn't know anything about websites at the time, and it was just kind of odd how we didn't know anything about it, and so we were throwing these ideas out. And I think at the time, I can't think of the guy's name. It just escapes me for some reason. But he was out of California. He was a coder or a programmer, and he was doing Bigfoot evidence. And at the time, Bigfoot evidence was one of the biggest clicks for anything Bigfoot related.
It was a click.
Yeah, you got,
like a game or visited website.
I meant like
no, it made it.
So
it's like in prison.
They were. I don't know.
There's Bigfoot clicks.
But but he was a good dude. He reached out to us, and he was wanting us to take it over, and I was okay with it. I said, man, if we can take it over and then like merge, Bigfoot Magazine into it, that'd be awesome. I love that idea. And so, and then we were friends with this other guy. I'm not going to say his name. Another guy, he was in Connecticut or something, and he was doing, I think at the time he was doing Block Talk Radio.
Block Talk Radio.
Dun, 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 dun. So, and he had a pretty popular podcast. I was on it a couple of times, and he's a good dude. But he was like really, really moody, and it was okay. And it's just none of us really got along. Well, not we all got along. It's just none of us would agree on an idea.
You all had very strong personalities and wanted to run shit.
Yeah.
It sounded like there's too many cooks in your kitchen.
Yeah. So And I think at the time, Matt started Bigfoot Crossroads, and it was a separate entity that I think he wanted to do from Bigfoot Magazine. And if I look back on it now, I should have saw that as, you know, him saying that, you know, hey, I'm not okay with Bigfoot Magazine. I'm not comfortable with it. But I didn't see it at the time. I just thought, you know, okay, hey, it's his own deal. So, and then he started doing Bigfoot Outlaw Radio. I don't know if you ever listened to that podcast. It was on Blog Talk Radio.
Probably.
Yeah, it was on Blog Talk. Now it's
Probably.
on YouTube. The YouTubes. So
YouTube.
So he was doing it with
Bitches.
when I was with the TBRC, and they were with the Oklahoma Monkey Chasers.
I hate that name.
Me too.
It just sounds inappropriate.
It sounds unprofessional.
It sounds unprofessional, but it also sounds like
Yeah.
alluding to something else.
Yeah. I wouldn't doubt it, but you know, I tried to like that guy. I tried really hard, and he did some stuff that he gave Tom Biscardi or Melba Ketchum some stuff about somebody. Then
he gave away private property locations.
Yeah, private property stuff that we were doing investigations, and the property owner asked us not to, and he did it. So if I'm wrong on this, I'll apologize, but I'm pretty sure it was him.
Yeah.
But
That's not cool, man.
it didn't set well with me, and so Matt had him on. I think it was Bigfoot Outlaw Radio, and and you know what, they started, you know, gaining some momentum. And I told Matt that I didn't want to do anything with that guy. I didn't want nothing to do with him. I said,
Yeah, because you can't trust them, man. That's
No.
messed up. I mean, not only is it betraying the trust of the homeowners and your group, but from, you know, not to give any details, but, you know, it seemed that you guys had created some sort of like relationship with these creatures at this location, and that's just seems like a betrayal of trust to them too. I mean, that's, you know, that's how I look at it. It's like,
yeah,
anybody could show up at this place and mess with these guys, and I don't like that.
yeah. I don't know. I just didn't like that dude, and I tried really hard, and I think Matt asked me to like him, and I tried, and I couldn't do it. So, I don't know.
I don't know. My head is just running because I'm reading other websites and other people's ideas to what needs to be done research-wise when it comes to specimen collecting. So I don't agree with that, and I'm just thinking about, you know, what you guys told me about your experiences at this location, and just thinking of just whoever ran in there and just shot the place up.
Yeah.
And that's horrible. That's horrible because these creatures gain their trust.
Yeah.
And then this person, whoever it was, gave away this location, and that, you know, that just is horrible.
So, like I said, I couldn't stand this dude, and he, you know, he was in cahoots with Matt, and you know, I don't hate Matt for that, you know, and Matt had to do what he had to do, and
Right.
they were doing Bigfoot Outlaw Radio, and they were doing well. They were gaining momentum, and so I think I slowly started backing away from doing Bigfoot Magazine with those guys, and the idea of doing it with them was, I would say, probably like at 40%, you know, maybe. And I was in a way, I was kind of disheartened a little bit, because, you know, I relocated, you know, to Tulsa to do Bigfoot Magazine.
Right.
And I was like no longer kind of talking to Chad Scott, and then Matt was doing, his other stuff with this other guy. And so, I mean, is it a sore subject with me? Yeah, it is. I was pretty pissed at the time, and I was pretty hurt.
It's understandable because you had you put a lot of thought, and you put a lot of effort into it. And, you know, I understand sometimes shit happens, but it's hard not to, you know, be disheartened and upset when something that you really were passionate about falls apart, no matter how much effort you put into it. You know?
Yeah. Steven, you
Yeah.
got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I was gonna say my part on why it's a sore subject on mine, and it had nothing to do with. I mean, it had mostly with Bigfoot Magazine. We moved there for Matt and all that stuff, but whenever we moved, I had a really good friend of mine who got real sick suddenly, and I wasn't there to spend time with him or say goodbye. It just happened, and he. To this day, I still don't know. Like a lot of people say, it was like the swine flu or some. I forgot the name of it. It's like some blood poisoning, like where his blood got. It just got bad, and it was shutting down his organ one by one.
Right.
So, whenever I called a friend of mine, you remember Enrique, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good friends with him, and I called him. I was like, "Hey, Sebastian, I heard Sebastian's sick. His name is Sebastian."
Yeah, that's right.
He was like, "Yeah, he went in for like flu symptoms, and it's getting worse, but we'll keep it updated." And I called the next day, and that's whenever he already passed. Like he just passed, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like I just talked to him a couple days ago.
Yeah.
So it hit me like a 10-ton of bricks, and that was whenever I didn't have I was about to start GameStop, and I remember telling you, I was like, I have to go say goodbye to him.
Yeah,
I didn't
hesitate at all. I just gave you the money as I go.
Yeah, and that at the time, another thing is, I think he would. I think he probably could have done more, but that was whenever the alternator went out. You remember that?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just bad timing. So I remember I pretty much hitchhiked back to Texas and, said my goodbye with Sebastian and went back to Tulsa. I think Jungle gave me a bus ticket to go back.
Right.
So I went back, and it hit me. It hit me hard. Like it took me a while to get over it, and that's one of the reasons why one of my sons is named Sebastian, because I named him after him.
Right.
So that's why when you say disheartening, yeah, it was very disheartening because we gave up so much, we sacrificed so much for nothing to show for it. Which I wouldn't say it like that though, because
back then we did. We said it then.
Back then, we said it then.
Saying it now.
No, we're not. But yeah, it was a hard time, and I think after that, and I think after like no interest from Matt or definitely from Chad. Like Chad just kind of just stopped talking to us then already.
Yeah.
I think that's whenever you and I decided pretty much like we should move back.
Yeah.
To Texas. So.
But it was just kind of odd because like when we moved to Tulsa, I only knew two people, Chad and Matt, and then when we moved back, we knew like a bunch of people. We were friends with like 25 people were, I think. Yeah, there was, because I think most of my Facebook is Tulsa people.
Because you don't go anywhere to do anything anymore.
I know, but I still,
right.
Like at the time, I was saying it back then, that it was a failure, but really it's not, because, I'm still friends with Clifton.
Right.
Earl the Pearl does the wrestling portion with me on this, and so I met Earl the Pearl. And so he's a great person, and I'm blessed to have met him, and then he's still a part of my life. And
yeah, I think that times like that is usually whenever you find your real people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that Matt can't still be my friend, hint Matt, but anyway.
If you're listening.
So, but I just thought at the time, there was a lot. It was a lot of stuff.
There's a lot that went on in just a few short years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I think there was a couple of things Matt and I got mad at each other about, but some of them were silly, and then and we just stopped talking. And I think right before we moved back, I didn't even talk to him. I didn't even say goodbye to him. I didn't do any. We just left. Like we left, and I think it was in the middle of the night or something. Right, Steven?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, we just left. We just left because it's funny because like whenever we moved there, I had a 30-foot trailer, and then when we moved back, I just had my car and a little hitch, a little bit hitch. All I brought back was like I think it was the TV, my CDs, my comics, and our clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have the essentials.
So
Yeah, we left our beds, the couches, because they were just old.
yeah, because like I didn't have the money. I didn't have the money to get a big truck. I
Bigger
said
one,
this is the only thing I can afford, and so
Yeah.
Been there.
Yep.
so
But in a way, that kind of doing stuff like that is a little bit freeing too,
yeah,
because it's just stuff.
it's just stuff.
You had your comic books and your CDs, and that's all that mattered.
Yeah, of course. So
Those are irreplaceable.
so I thought it was cool, and we came back, and but I just want to say, Matt, he did a lot for us, and he, we didn't get Bigfoot Magazine off the ground. But he's doing well. I mean, I'm glad he's doing well, because I think, when I think back on now that, he and this is probably right. He didn't have a lot of confidence in me, and to like lead Bigfoot Magazine up and going. And I think at the time I wasn't ready.
Yes.
I wasn't ready at all. So, I thought I was, but I wasn't. And I'll admit that. And I'm mad enough to admit it.
Well, I mean, life happened. You didn't.
Yeah.
You couldn't have expected what to happen. What did?
Yeah.
And maybe it just wasn't your path. He found his,
No.
and you got yours. And
Yeah.
maybe there's a reason for everything.
So, but I'll say that. I'll be honest and say that I don't think I was ready, and I thought I was, but I wasn't, and it failed, and I lost track with Todd Partain. I lost track with Matt and Chad, and it's just one of those things that
apart from your guy, I mean, around that time, I think everybody in our little our clique, our little group of friends, we all had shit going on for like that, 5, 6, however, 10-year period.
Yeah.
Just one after the other, because for a while there we were doing our little freelance, go in the woods, like once or twice a season, in the fall, and then just kind of fell off, because people had to work. The economy then was not so great, and, and jobs are hard to find, and everything's out of pocket, and you gotta pick your battles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Robert and I could agree on this. We suffered a lot there. We met some good people there. There was a lot of good memories. From like with George, when we went to Ron's Chili, Ron's Chili is amazing.
George Serwin.
Yeah, George Serwin.
Man, that dude was so
yeah,
awesome.
he helped us out a lot there too. I'm pretty sure that's another story we can always talk about.
No, let's go ahead and talk about it now.
Yeah, I mean,
we got time to kill.
We're not live.
So,
yeah.
I mean, this is how bad it was for us, Ash. Is that like I was almost done paying off the Silver Bullet. I had I probably had I don't know, like $2,700 or $2,500 to pay off it, and I was late on a couple of payments. And I got up to work one day, and I walk outside, and I go to my car, and the car's not there. And I didn't see any broken glass, so I figured it wasn't stolen. So I called Tulsa PD, and I said, "Hey, did one of this maybe report my car being stolen?" And they said, "No, it wasn't. It was repoed." And I go, "Oh, okay." So then I called the bank where I financed it from, And they said, yeah, we took it to Oklahoma City and, you know, you were late on this payment, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, what do I need to do to get it out? This was on a Wednesday. I called off on Wednesday and Thursday. Steven and I got paid on Friday. And so Steve and I put our both checks because at the time, you know, we weren't making a lot of money. So we put we put both of our checks together that came out to a little bit over what I owed. And I didn't have a way to go to Oklahoma City. So at the time when I was working at Tulsa, there was a guy there named George Sherwin. He was the Coke guy, and he was getting ready to retire. And he was like one of the sweetest mans you ever meet. He's an Eagles fan.
Did you say men's?
Yeah, I did. I did.
One of the sweetest guys you ever meet.
I was hoping you didn't notice that. You did. But he's like so sweet. He's an Eagles fan, but he's really sweet. And he's like really, really good to me. And like he and I got really close. And so we would talk like after work, and you know, he serviced the building early in the morning. I'd see him early in the morning. We would talk. And then so I called him up and I said, hey man, hate to do this to you. Because I think at the time I wasn't really talking to Matt that much. And I called him and I said, hey man, I need a favor. Can you drive me to Oklahoma City? And he goes, yeah. And so he got off work. He picked me and Steven up, drove us to Walmart to do a money order, and we drove to Oklahoma City. And I had to pay them, you know, the $2,700, and then I had to pay $300 more because they pulled everything out of my car and put it in storage, and they charged me for that. Oh my god! Like they pulled like a CD out, you know, a towel, a shirt, you know, a scraper. Yeah. And they charged me $300 for it. Yep. So I had to pay that.
And probably kept all of these change that they found.
Yeah. So I paid that. And then we got the car back. I got the car. And then I think I had enough money. I think Steve and I have enough money for gas to get back to Tulsa from Oklahoma City. That was it. That's all the money I had for the next 2 weeks. And George cooked dinner for me every night, gave me gas money so I could get back and work. And he brought me, he wouldn't give me Tupperware. He gave me like a hard dish. He would make stuff for me. So, do you remember that, Steven?
Yeah, I remember. I go, man, why do we have 10 dishes? I'm like, oh wait, yeah, don't pack that. Don't order. Like, I think at the time we were kind of, I think, packing already too.
Yeah.
So we're like, yeah, don't pack that. Don't pack that. That's George. Oh, okay.
He's such a good dude, man. Sweetest heart, and like he was like, he had been widowed, and George, I'm sorry for telling the story, but he had been widowed, and I was trying to get him. I said, hey, have you gone on a date? And he said no. So I went and
You need to quit worrying about other people's dating lives because you get mad when other people do that to you.
Maybe. But so I set up like a dating website for him, and he went on like 3 or 4 dates.
No.
And he was like super happy, and like long as that dude was happy, I was happy.
Right.
So yeah. And he's actually retired now, and he's living in Florida with his grandbaby, so he's good. He's happy.
Yeah,
so I'm happy for him. So, but without him, and like I think Clifton at the time fed us too, and he did a lot of good stuff for us too. So Matt was there in the beginning, and George Sherwin and Clifton were there toward the end. So yeah, they're good people. I mean, I know we're talking about Matt here, and but I mean everything in a good way with him, because he's such a good person, and he's still a good person, and we just don't talk. So
yeah,
you can look him up.
Yeah, so
and that guy you went to school with,
Michael Nunez.
Yeah, you get him on the PCAST.
Steven, have you heard that story yet?
Why does Michael Nunez sound so familiar?
Michael Nunez was a guy I went to went to elementary at Maple Lawn in Dallas. I met him in 2nd grade, and we had talked about going to Canada and go hunting for Bigfoot, and we were going to do it together. Second grade. So I remember that story because we were talking about Renee DeHinden and Grover Krantz, and I was talking about checking out John Green's book, and he was asking me, "Hey, what's this you're reading?" I said, "Oh, it's John Green and Bigfoot." So we always mention Michael Nunez every now and then.
Yeah, because we need to.
Oh,
We need to look him up and take him out in the woods. You know, we don't have to go to Canada.
I know, right?
yeah, and that's
we
like
could,
that's
but we
whenever
don't
you
have
thought.
to.
Yeah, we can definitely go to Canada. I'll
Not right now. We're
probably
not
take my
allowed.
peers.
They don't want us up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Especially us
No, they
here
don't.
from Dallas. We got cooties.
But yeah, like I was saying, we had good memories. You know, Robert, you saw, I think Matt's. I hate to bring this up. I hope it's okay, but Matt's grandmother.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you saw
No.
her there.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day because we have a visitor.
Yeah.
That I don't know.
Yeah. We have a visitor here now, Steven.
Really?
Yeah.
Or we just think we do.
Because like the light above the kitchen, it gives off a massive amount of EMF. Massive amount. Like over 20 milligauss. And
oh geez.
So anytime I'm like at the sink or at the stove, I always see somebody walk by all the time in the corner of my eye. And then like I know Ash, you can probably just story better. You're always sitting at the couch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see somebody like in the hallway or in the
Or
room.
in your room because you leave your door open.
That's why I had to close it the other night when I was here by myself.
Yeah.
Because I had a little whiskey, and it was storming real good. You know, perfect climate for that sort of thing. But I get that feeling anyway in the dark hallway and open door, like just like this ominous feeling. Anyway.
Yeah. But,
I don't know
interesting.
that. I think it's probably just in our head, but
Yeah.
you never know. But yeah, it always looks like either someone's walking like into my room, or like at the end of the hallway, or like in the opposite. It's like it just crossing to a doorway.
Or
Yeah.
it.
So
I thought I saw it
I'm gonna be like,
just a while ago too, like over there where the washer and dryer is. I don't know if you saw me. I looked, but it could have been
Somebody actually walking outside.
what were you saying, Steven?
I was gonna say, I'm gonna be like those people online. It's a demon.
Tell me your name, demon.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, demons? It's your boy Steven.
I seen a thing where it was one of those like a bullshit astrology one, and the top one was like a whole bunch of Scorpios, whatever, and it's like, fuck you demons, and the down where mine was at the bottom was like, bye ghost, I love you. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
and I'm like, yeah, and it's basically,
Yeah.
don't mess with me while I'm asleep or in the bathroom or in the shower.
So Steven was saying, like, when we were in Tulsa, Matt, and I'm sorry, Matt, but his grandmother had just passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And right before we had moved there, she had just passed away. And I was sitting, I think Matt has like a really long hallway, like from the living room. And it's like, you can see like, it's one hallway, and it has, the kitchen and all the bedrooms are all connected to it. Stephen and Matt were in down at the end of the hallway on the left, the last room on the left. I can't remember what I was watching, but I was watching something with Shotzi. Shotzi was on my lap, and and then somebody walked out of the bedroom on my left, on the right going left, and I saw somebody walk through, and as soon as I saw it, Shotzi's head popped up too. So at the same time, we both looked. And I whispered to Shotzi, I go, did you see that? Because I know I did.
And he goes, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, it's grandma. So,
And you go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh.
and so
But yeah.
I think at the time, all I saw was like silver hair, curly hair, or wavy hair, the back of her nightgown, and her left elbow. That's all I saw. And I got up, Shotzi jumped off and went behind the TV. And I walked into the kitchen, and like 3 of the cabinets were open.
It's like on the Sixth Sense.
Yeah, exactly like on the Sixth Sense. So then I walked down to the end of the hallway to go talk to Steven and Matt, and I said, I think I just saw your grandma. And he goes, where? I go, coming from the room to the kitchen. She goes, yeah, she usually goes and gets like tea and makes tea. And I go, oh, man.
That was her room, too.
Yeah, that was her room that his stepkids were now in. So it was kind of odd. So.
And that, I think right after that, too, like a couple weeks later, like I remember he used to drop me off early in the morning there.
Yeah.
And like Matt would still be asleep, and it would just be me or Shotzi or Roddy. Roddy was outside smoking, and I was in the kitchen getting like a hot pocket or something, getting like, is it breathtaking?
Yeah, it was breathtaking.
I was heating one up, and then you know he had on the hallway he had that mirror.
Yeah.
That long mirror, and you can kind of see if you're in the kitchen at the right angle, you could see the computer room that he was at.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like the computer is always on. He never puts it to where it goes to sleep, so it's always on.
Yeah.
And there was like the light was dull. It was like somebody was standing in front of it. And I was looking at the mirror. I go, is that Roddy? No, that Roddy's still outside. And then whenever I looked again, like kind of a little closer, it like shot out the room and went down the other side of the hallway.
I do remember that.
Grandma, quit running the
Yeah.
house.
And I was like, oh shit, okay. And I remember like I got like the chills down my spine, guys.
First thing in the morning. I mean, come on.
Yeah, first thing in the morning. It was like 5 a.m. I think I left my hot pocket there, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot about my hot pocket. But yeah,
it's breathtaking.
Go back in. It's got a bite out of it.
Yep. Go back in. There's like a bite out of it, and say sorry. Well.
So
yeah. So like I said, we
had some stuff going on there. So.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like I was saying, in the long run, Matt made the right decision. And he went with this other dude, and because I think right now Bigfoot Crossroads has got like 3 million views, so it's doing well. Yeah, and he's doing well, and I'm happy for him. So I think I had to go try to do it because Bigfoot Magazine is one of those things that I had to do it. I had to try to do it because if I didn't, I would be thinking now. I said, man, what if I just tried?
Right.
Or what if I just, if I go back in time, I could just try it and see. At least I know I did it. It didn't work. I came back, and now I'm right where I need to be. Bigfoot Club for life. Too sweet.
Yeah, I don't know if it's for that long, but
too sweet.
Yeah. I might have to retire sometimes.
I know, but I'm saying Bigfoot Club. Once we're gone,
we'll hand it on.
This is going to be
to the babies.
Yeah, I can see Batchy and Cardo doing this big time.
Yep.
They
wouldn't even be talking about Bigfoot. They'd be talking about Woody, Buzz.
Yeah.
Your toy, stuff like that.
Kiki and Mew Mew.
Maybe they'll move on to
the big Kiki and Mew Mew.
Play-Doh. Yeah.
We should just
gummy bears.
We should do that. I'm just sitting here thinking, it's like we should record a show
outlet
for just them, so we can have a week off.
Yeah. So
just do it for the week, guys.
So, but I just think back on it now that he's doing good. And I'm glad, and everything worked out well. And I'm back in Texas, which I know my mom's happy. Grandma, she's happy. So that we're back in Texas, and I'm doing a Bigfoot Club, and I'm writing comic books for my older brother, and so everything's meant to be this way.
Yep.
So, anywho,
that Blair got the
babies,
got the boys. Yep.
Got the little gravies going. So.
Mm-hmm.
And now I live here.
Yeah, and then Ash is here.
It took me a damn decade.
Yeah,
because I had a similar story going on with a whole bunch of other horrible shit keeping me from Texas, and then finally, it's just like
when you're picking a lock and like just all the cylinders fall into place and.
Remember, I used to always message you all the time. So you're moving to Texas? Remember, I used to always message you.
And I'm like, I don't have any money. All my money goes to bills and food, and then maybe I would have $40.
And I go, so you're moving to Texas?
I don't have a car. And I'm like, are you going to come pick me up?
So I know.
You never did.
I know you're mad at me about the Honolulu stuff.
You never came and picked me up.
Yeah. That shit.
You're going to be mad when you see how close Antlers is to my hometown.
Yeah.
It's like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
Oh, man.
That.
One thing I do miss about Tulsa is the rent price. My gosh.
Yeah.
Well, 'cause of alcohol.
A one bedroom in Tulsa at the time in 2009 was $340.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like that in Daquan, but
Is it really?
all of the places that do cost that much are not great places to live.
Oh, I see.
It's not exactly
Ideal.
It's not very good. I'll just say that like my last trailer home that I rented from my 7th grade science teacher. That was a horrible idea, but had literal holes in the floor, and
I remember you telling
they
me
just
this.
put carpet over it, and
And it was like, hey, don't step there.
yeah,
around that.
basically. And like my
Step
cat, where the wash and dryer was supposed to be like the vent, it was just a hole in the floor all the way to the ground. My cats would come in and out that way.
Dang.
Yeah. And I had squirrels would be in my bathroom drawers. Like there was literally acorns
Dang, dude.
in my bathroom drawers where they were hiding.
You were like basically like Green Acres.
No, I was poor meth head town with slumlords.
Green Acres, place to be. So,
I didn't have a pig yet.
or a tractor.
No. We got those after that trailer was nice, where we had the piggy.
So, any thoughts on Bigfoot Magazine, or before we close it out?
I mean, it was a good learning lesson, I would say.
Yeah.
It was just I'm just glad you didn't do it by yourself, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I went with you to learn the experience of Oklahoma, because I think that was the first time I ever been out of state, like out of Texas, state-wise. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I've never been. I've only been to the Hanoba part of it, and oh yeah, and I still haven't had Hideaway Pizza. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I hadn't had Hideaway, so
Take you guys.
Yeah, I thought you did.
yeah. Hideaway? No.
To Hochatown to get you some Grateful Head pizza.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's it's basically.
I'm glad that. Oh, go ahead. That's sorry.
Oh, I was just saying that place is like it's right there. Not that like in the Kayamichis.
Kayamichis, yeah.
Yeah. At Beaver's Bend.
Yeah. But no, I was going to say I'm glad that I got to experience Bishop's.
Yeah.
Bishop's was amazing.
Yeah, that was a restaurant we used to go to all the time, and they had like the best chicken. The best
the chicken there
was amazing.
Is it better than mine?
No.
That's the right answer.
but I haven't had it, so I don't know.
Yeah, you should. It was delicious.
Good shit, man.
Fried chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah, she made fried chicken.
Oh man.
Ash made fried chicken last time when our friend John Doe was here.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I need to stop by there to get some chicken.
Simone.
And gummy bears.
Yeah.
Yay! They were so happy.
Yeah, we have gummies here too.
Oh yeah, the boys will be happy.
So yeah, Bishop's had really good fried chicken, and we had a tornado in Tulsa, and it knocked it out.
No way.
It knocked it out.
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I don't believe you. There's a tornado in Oklahoma.
There was one.
That's
It landed right behind Bishop's, and knocked out their power, and they lost all their food, all their freezer, and they went out of business.
Lame.
And like I was telling Clifton about it. I go, this is the best chicken ever, and he goes, okay, I'll go there. Okay, I'll go. And he never went, and it closed.
And then a tornado.
Yeah, a tornado hit it. And,
God said
He's
no.
like, hey, I have all the time in the world now to go to Bishop's. That's not there anymore.
yeah, so it was so.
Yeah, because I remember there was a couple times like, hey, call Clifton. Let's go get some Bishop's. And he's like, yeah, he didn't answer. He's busy or something, so we'll go to Bishop's by ourselves.
He wanted to go to Boston Market.
Boston Market.
He didn't know it was a restaurant.
Right.
He didn't know it was a restaurant. Clifton, because he would buy Boston Market meals at Walmart, and I would tell him, I said, you know that's a restaurant, right? And he goes, it is? I go, yeah, it's a restaurant.
What?
Yeah, he didn't know. He thought it was just he thought it was just like an entree meal or something. I said, no,
or a brand.
I go, no, dude, it's a restaurant. When you come here, we have to go there. So.
And then we went next door last time.
Yeah.
We went Chinese.
Yeah.
Always miss that place, but
Yeah, I went to Chinese already.
at the good one.
Yeah.
You should take Ash to that pizza like right behind you guys.
Is it
Best pizza ever.
really?
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Did
It's
you
like-
tell me you thought it was a front for something
Yeah,
else?
because like Steve and I went there one time we ordered one pizza. It was like $40.
Wow.
One
Yeah.
pizza, 2 toppings, maybe some drinks. It's $40.
Was it any good?
No, it's horrible.
No, it was very mediocre.
And they've been open. I never see them drive off. I never see them deliver. I mean, maybe I see them once or twice.
I
But
see people eating pizza in the parking lot sometimes.
man, yeah, drug dealers.
The front. It's the front.
Hey, listen. If it was legalized, they wouldn't have to have a front. It could just be, here's our this.
I don't know, but
Whatever they're doing.
it's
I don't know. Well, it depends on what they're doing.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to legalize.
it's a front, whatever it is. But anyway, so
We just named them.
no,
Not really.
no. And
No, probably
I'm
not.
I'm mispronouncing it.
This is a good neighborhood.
What do you sound like? Somebody from from the East Coast.
I didn't realize what it is. It's part like one of my my Vanderpump girls. That's like her sarcastic, whatever.
Her voice?
Her voice. Part Randy St. James from Zack and Mary, and part the lady from Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Okay.
Like really smoker.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of Randy St. James in there.
Hey.
I
Because what
and a little bit of Lala.
wasn't I do like Luke's voice like that too? Huh? Wasn't I do Luke's voice
Yeah.
like that? Hey Bob. So you can't do like that.
No.
So
That's Lala and Randy.
well we're gonna need to close it out.
Okay.
So
After I just gave him Lala.
you guys ready for the wrestling portion of this show?
Yeah.
Steven?
Of course. Of course.
So
Of course.
Of course.
of course. Coming up next is the segment where I do wrestling talk with Earl the Pearl. So, what I love. So yeah, this week's a really good segment. We talk pretty good about wrestling, and we talk about all the shows and
And if you listen closely, you can hear me make a sandwich in the background.
yeah. And so we talk about his kids, and we talk about Sebastian and Ricardo too, Steven.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, because he was saying, "Man, I got to meet Steven's kids." Because like his
Yeah, because they're smart.
yeah, his little girl, I think she's like 7 or 8. She's asking Earl. He goes, "Hey, are you gonna do the podcast with your friend,
No.
Daddy?"
He probably thinks that he's like a big time internet whatever.
Yeah,
Because like Bella did that for one of Michelle's. She like did some like boat tutorials or something like that, like years and years ago. And she messaged me, she's like, "My mom is a YouTube star."
okay.
Because she had like 2
Wow.
videos posted on there.
Is that a statement or a question?
No, she was telling me. She's like, "I can't believe that." I was like, well, I'm on YouTube too.
I'm on the YouTube.
She didn't care about that.
Yeah. So I'm probably not going to cut a lot of this out. Thinking back at it now, I may cut that guy's name out.
Yeah.
So
What guy?
I may just cut his name out
Can you put a beep over it?
I could, I guess. I guess I could put a beep over it.
Yeah, you could.
His name is what?
I know his name is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't done sounds on here in a while.
No, you have not. Why is that? Oh, okay.
Just cause we.
Sorry, I forgot about that one.
You still have the bowling strike?
Who?
Who?
You still have the bowling strike?
Yeah, I do. I think it's it's right here.
Finish him.
Oh,
Nope.
sorry, wrong
I want to hear bowling pin says make that noise.
Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Sorry.
I remember you said that on one of the episodes. You said bowling, like right as soon as you said bowling, I was like, he was waiting for that. He was waiting for that.
Yes, I still have this one too.
Bitch ass.
That's the one you should use.
Yeah.
Bitch ass.
That's the one you should use.
Yeah, I should do it over.
His name was bitch ass.
Good idea. It's done. It is done. I'm putting that one on it just for that.
That is great. That is great.
So
his name was bitch ass.
That's awesome.
That's his name now.
So
we referred to him.
Yeah.
When me and bitch
It was funny.
ass were over here.
You should have heard her the other day when she came home. I was in the bedroom watching TV, and I see her go to the kitchen, and I knew where she was going. She was going straight to the freezer to go to get ice cream, which I already finished.
Yeah.
That day.
Oh no!
And she started cussing at you.
She opened the thing. She goes, "Where's the bitch ass?" Like she said, real low. I go, "I heard that." She goes, "You finished the ice cream?" I was like, "Yes," because I was dealing with screaming kids.
Well,
she was like,
you
should have texted her, man.
You should have got on Uber Eats and ordered or something right there.
Yeah, man.
That's what we did today.
"Sorry, man."
Yeah, we ordered Uber Eats today. I got a Sonic Blast.
Oh, you had Sonic? Oh, you got Sonic?
Simone?
Yeah.
Sonic is the best. But I like for you to go there and feel uncomfortable about not tipping them or tipping them. I like seeing you. He has such an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
Whenever
About
they come,
not tipping them?
here's your order. Yeah, about tipping them or not tipping them.
That's why you never want to go.
I feel obligated, like I have to tip them, and I
only do it and I have cash.
I just feel bad.
I mean, you can't when you have a credit.
I know, but I'm saying I feel bad, and like Steven likes to see me squirm because I can't tip him. So
he goes, hey, when they come in, he goes, okay, you ordered a so blast, two cheeseburgers and a fries. Here you go. He goes, yeah, that's what I ordered. And then she goes, any condiments? No. And then she'll stand there. And he goes, okay, bye. Like he doesn't know what.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, come on.
You're like, I should have tipped her. I was like, oh well.
You should like record it.
I should. I really should. Next time we'll do that. We'll go there.
Simone.
No, you won't. Hello.
Yeah, that was me.
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear us?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Okay, we are officially 1 minute and 34 seconds over. So
We've been done for like 5 minutes.
I know, really.
Yeah.
So, anywho, thanks for being on, Steven, and giving your insight on Bigfoot Magazine. So yeah, it was good to have your insight on it because because you and I never talked about that, have we?
No, we kind of swept it under the rug on for a while.
Yeah.
We'd bring it up here and there, like, yeah, we were in Tulsa for, yeah.
Those are the last
how's the wine
years.
business going?
dumb. How's the wine business? He's doing Joe Rogan.
Listen, have you ever done DMT? I was talking about DMT the other day, so I can't say shit, and I haven't done it. But
Oh, Joe Rogan, I love him, but Jesus Christ.
well, because I was
So
thinking about it.
ADHD.
I was thinking about it, like, because everybody has similar. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people have similar hallucinations where they see like these goblin creatures, and how they describe them sounds like, oh well, certain little things that come out of caves.
Yeah.
But they describe them as like the ushers to where you reach a higher plane, and they're just there to tell you it's okay, don't freak out, just live in the moment, and everything's good, everything's love. And how you're telling me like at that one spot that you guys were getting all these herbs from your footies out there, and possibly they were hallucinogens, and it's like, well, maybe they know some shamanistic shit, and maybe all of that's connected,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think about shit like that at work when I have nothing to do.
I think about it all the time too. So
but Joe Rogan saw those things, and he said they were telling him, "I love you 300,365 times. Look at this."
And then he would say, "So, how's the wine business?"
Yep.
So
look at this.
Joe Rogan.
all right. So thanks for being on, Steven. We're gonna close it out from here, and we're gonna go to the wrestling portion of the show. Say it again.
And the end. Goodbye.
All right. Thanks, Steven.
All righty, man. Thanks.
Laters. Hey, everybody. Robert Jesse Dominguez, and this is the portion where we talk wrestling with Earl the Pearl. Earl, how are you?
Yes, doing good, man. I have to say, you mess with me because you'll do on the other part. You'll be like, this is Bigfoot Club. I'm your host, Robert Dominguez. I'm like, why aren't you saying your middle name? And then like now you're like, oh, this is Robert Jesse Dominguez. I'm like, I don't know what to believe.
That's awesome. I don't know. It's just like whenever I feel, I don't know. It's just I just wing it. So
no, that's fine. I just think it's funny because I'll listen and you'll do it, and I'm like, why is he saying his middle name? And it'll be like 2 weeks, and then the third week you'll be like, full name. I'm like, I don't know what's going on anymore. What is reality?
I know. Somebody pinch me.
So good. So good.
Did you watch Raw this week?
I did indeed.
You didn't, or you did?
I did. No, I did.
Okay.
I did indeed.
What?
Sorry, I didn't space my words.
What stood out on you on Raw?
So the whole, I like Edge's promo.
Yeah.
I thought he did really well. I like, that he called himself the PG superstar, and then he worked into how Randy Orton has made him back into the R-rated superstar.
Yeah.
So I'm interested with that because I don't know if we've talked about it before. Yeah, we did. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. And I felt really stupid because I couldn't remember what it was called. But when we were talking about how Britt Baker's over and she's promoing, and I couldn't remember that it was called the Flair for the Gold.
Yeah.
I feel stupid. I couldn't remember it at the time, but I was shopping. But you can be injured, but you don't have to wrestle to make that a great build-up.
Yeah.
Because they have really bad problems. Yeah, and they have really bad problems, the WWE does, of not building it up. And then it's kind of like what you said about like Impact. Either at one point they had really good wrestlers and not enough. Yeah, not good writing, or they have really great writing and not good wrestlers.
Yeah.
WWE is really good at either not having a good build-up and they just introduce a match and it's a great match, or they have a really big build-up and the match sucks. Kind of like the House of Horrors match. That was great. Randy Orton burned down Sister Abigail's house.
Yeah.
But the match was You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it was it was a good match, but it was just the wrong time to do it, I thought.
Yeah, and it was just really bad. So I hope, because like I said, Randy Orton and Edge's matches have been great since the beginning, since he's come back.
Yeah.
WrestleMania was great. The last match was amazing. All the different callbacks they had and stuff at Backlash.
Yeah.
So, but it would be really good because you can be hurt and still play mind games with Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Because Randy Orton listens to the voices in his head, but he's kind of like that friend, and I fall to that sometime where I'm like, I'm really good at talking smack, but when you talk smack to me, I let it get to me, and then I'm butthurt sometimes.
Yeah.
And Randy Orton's character is really good at that. Like, he's good at being kind of like the cerebral assassin, kind of like what Triple H is. But if you get inside his head, he's not good with dealing with that. The character-wise, not Randy Orton himself, but the Viper's character. And Edge is really good at getting in people's heads. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you look back in the years, he's done that a lot. So I think even him hurt, you can have really great vignettes and really great backstage segments and stuff. And he doesn't have to wrestle. He can get better, and then he can cut those cool, like, he's in a dark place. So his promo this week was the dark background with the white ropes. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a really good display of what they were trying to say. Like, my daughter was like, well, Daddy, why is it so dark? And I'm like, well, I was like, how do you tell a 9-year-old the what you interpret it to be? So I was like, I think he's in a dark place. So it's representing the black background is his dark place. And the white ropes is they're still a little bit there, but the dark's going to win over. And that's the way that I perceive that. So I thought that was really good. And then the other thing that I liked about Raw, no, I didn't like it. I don't like the whole Ric Flair says Randy Orton is the greatest wrestler of all time. I didn't.
Yeah.
I was like, come on. I understand you're doing that, but I'm like, it's like, I get upset when Ric Flair makes random appearances just because he hasn't been talked about in a while.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's good for the story, but that's the thing I didn't like. I'm like, I get it, Rick. You're a bad guy. I love you, but I don't need to see you on my TV. I mean, it's good when you're like celebrating with Charlotte and all, but
I mean, it makes sense if like Randy and Edge weren't good at telling the story during the match, and they're really good at telling the story in the match. If he stepped in, and then he's going to need help. But those guys, on that pay-per-view Backlash, they told a really great story. I mean, was it the greatest wrestling match of all time? No, but they told a great story, and they didn't have to do moonsaults and jumping off the top rope. They didn't need all that because they told a story. They showed like how Edge was in doubt and like Randy was pouncing on it, and then it switched. So I don't know. That was just me.
Did a bunch of. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that match. But no, the story they told, because they even did a bunch of throwbacks. Now, like last week, Ric Flair was used. I hate it. Like I said, I love it when. Like I said, I love it when you use objects that don't hurt to make it look like it hurts.
Yeah,
I love that. But on the flip side of the coin, I don't like it when you use somebody they're not needed. Last week for Christian, that was good. Ric Flair was like, hey man, you shouldn't do this. And then Christian's like, you know what, Rick, I have to. I don't like the way you talk to me. And then he came back out, and Ric Flair's bad, but then Christian's like, I got this. And then he, helped Randy Orton beat Christian. That was fine.
Yeah.
That's how you use Ric Flair. Ric Flair is going to try to get you, try to seem like he's your friend, and then he's going to turn on you. And that's fine. I'm happy about that. But like this week, it's like, I don't need to know that you think Randy Orton is the greatest wrestler ever. We already know that. You don't have to tell me that.
Yeah.
So that's the part I didn't really care for. But I mean, Raw was good. In general, I thought it was good. For what it was, I liked the Street Profits match. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because a couple of podcasts ago I wasn't a big fan. I wasn't a big fan of all the videos of them competing against War Machine. I'm gonna call them War Machine. I'm not gonna call them.
I love War Machine. I agree. That's who they are.
So, but I really like what they've come to right now, because they're actually really good friends, and they respect each other. It's almost like an old Western, a little bit,
Yeah.
Where they meet
I
up,
agree.
they don't really get along. They fight, and then they have respect for each other. And at the very end, they're friends.
Yep.
So
kind of like Cesaro and Sheamus.
yeah,
I mean, Cesaro and Sheamus are really great friends in real life, and they did the same kind of thing. They worked through their problems, and now they're great. And it also helped out too, because now you ended that storyline. They walked off, and then you had the new team jump over. And I liked what they did with Cesaro and Nakamura. He was yelling at Michael Cole, "Tell me I'm wrong. You're not wrong. It's true. You're not wrong." But then they came back in to help. So I liked, because that was very, very good. Because WWE has a bad problem with tag teams. Like WWE, McMahon hates tag teams.
yeah.
But they ended that chapter very good, and then they immediately started with the new chapter. And I like that. I hate it whenever they end it and then they don't do anything with them for months. Like they have that really bad with tag teams, is they'll end a really great tag team thing, and then you don't ever hear about the tag team division again for 3 months until they decide, oh, hey, we haven't had tag teams in a while. So I like how they're transitioning into that. So I thought that was really good too.
I would also liked, and to me, I've never been a big fan of the 24/7 championship, but I like what they're doing. Tozawa, I mean, he's not, because normally you bring him out and he's in a squash match most of the time, and I like this side of him, because they're showing this other side of him, that he's fun, he can be funny, and so
and the same thing. Oh, I love that.
So to me, that was kind of good. So I don't know.
Yeah, and it's given R-Truth time, because he is the most, and still he is one of the most over champions they have.
Yeah,
he was given a really horrible looking belt, and he made it into something great.
Yeah,
and that's what R-Truth is. R-Truth is so good, and they kind of like with Becky Lynch. Look what happened. They slept on her, and then when she got that push, look what she did. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Same thing with R-Truth. They slept on him. I would hope he was like, just give me this and I'll make this great. And they trusted him, kind of like with the New Day. Look at their original gimmick that they had. It was, and I'm going to say it, and a lot of people I've talked to have agreed, it was very stereotypically demeaning for them, because they're all African Americans, and they were put into really horrible stereotypical roles. You had like Big E as like James Brown. You had Xavier Woods. I don't remember who they were portraying, but that lasted 2 weeks, and they're like, "This isn't us. Let us be us." And then the New Day became 8-time world champions. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I hated them at first, but now I love them.
Man, it was so bad. Like I cringed when I watched the original New Day vignettes. I was like, this is not good. I don't understand why they're doing this. So, but yeah, I like R-Truth. And like I said, he messed up that one time with the name of the city, and then he played that as a gag for like 2 years, and it was good.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, I liked it a lot, and I hope that they let the 24/7 championship, even though it is a gimmick belt, I hope they at least let it be like what the Hardcore Champion was. The Hardcore Championship was horrible, but they gave it to Mankind, and he made it into greatness. There were so many good matches with like the Hardcore title. So I hope they actually do that. They actually transition that into something where it can be good.
They need to change how it looks, and then maybe change its like scope on the card.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I agree.
Let's go ahead and jump to Impact. There's a lot to talk about Impact.
Oh my God, so much.
Tessa Blanchard got let go, and the rumor was on that one, because like she was stuck in Mexico, because I think she got married to some dude. I can't remember the guy's name, but for the life of me. But she married some guy in Mexico, and she got stuck in Mexico. So during the quarantine, and so Impact asked her to make, because as of right now, she's still she's on the card for Slammiversary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they asked her to drop it,
and they asked her to do some vignettes or some promo stuff, and she refused to do it.
Oh my gosh!
And so they cut her, and I'm kind of thinking that AEW is like whispering inside her ear.
I was about to say, because like I said, I mean, I read a lot of different reports from different things, like either PW Insider. Some of them you have to take with a grain of salt, like Bleacher and Sportskeeda, I think is how you say it. But then also I'm in a couple Facebook Facebook groups, and one Facebook group, the dude that's the admin over that is really good at like, hey, this is what I read, take it with a grain of salt, or hey guys, this has been verified by like this site and this site, but still take it with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? So he's really good at that. And I had read back whenever Ty Dillinger was starting to get the big push. I know we talked about him before in AEW about how some people say he's not getting the push, but I believe he is. But they were like, your dad's over there. If you were to get let go by Impact, that would be a good. And they're trying to build up that division. So I think, like you said, I think that would be it'd be a bad move for Impact, but I think that would be good for adding an extra layer for AEW, because you do have, over there, you do have some dominant women, but your women's division is lacking. I'm not saying on part of their women's division to hire like 80 women, but if you could get like 2 or 3 more really credible names, then you can have a really good rotation, because they're still doing in AEW, they're still doing the whole, the native beast, Nyla Rose. There we go. Nyla Rose. Yeah. She's still looming for her rematch, but you're giving Priscilla, not Priscilla. What's his face's wife's name?
Ford.
Penelope Ford. Thank you. Sorry. I always get the both of them, Priscilla Presley and Penelope Ford, get them mixed up. But she's getting her shot. Is she going to win it? I don't know. But at least you're doing that, because she's been doing really good. She stepped up to the plate.
Yeah, she
but
did.
If you could just add, and with Britt Baker actually really hurt, that kind of killed some of their storylines. So if you could get her or another couple really big names, then I think they'd have like that solid. So I think it's a good move for her. I wouldn't be surprised if she went there.
Yeah. So also Joey Ryan got let go.
That Speak Out movement.
Joey Ryan and Dave Chris with OVW, and also Michael England. I always get his name.
Elgin, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't know if he was part of the Speak Out thing, but
he was
gotten really big. And I read a report that someone was like, if this is true, good. They need to learn their lesson. But one of the things I read, they were saying, I forget what female wrestler it was. I don't think it was Victoria. It was someone else. But they were like, they were saying, did this really happen?
Yeah.
Are you using it as revenge? She said she's not taken away from any of it. If it actually happened, you need to tell your story. But kind of like with the other kind of movements they had, you got to be careful, because it could be a revenge thing. And then you get, you know what I'm saying? So she's like, put it out there, do that, but just know that, there could be some reports that aren't true. But speak up. And even with that, I mean, look what's happened with the one guy we're talking about when we get to NXT. He is probably going to be gone too, because there's been a lot more allegations outside of the whole, what he told them about. There's even worse allegations now. So there's a lot of people, even in NXT UK, that Speak Out movement is hitting a bunch of people. And some of them I didn't even see. I was like, oh my God. So it's crazy.
So like there's 4 spots on Impact that got let go. Tessa Blanchard, Michael, Dave Crisp, Joey Ryan. So, I don't know if you noticed that, when watching it, at the very end, there was D'Lo was in the back, doing something.
Yes.
He had on the back of his chair. Aces
he picked it up. Oh my God, they're starting that up again.
So Slammiversary is coming up on July the 18th, and that's going to be Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, probably.
God, I'm so happy. That I'm not going to lie to you. That was one of my favorite factions. The original incarnation started to go the NWO route, and they squashed it quick.
Yeah.
Because remember when NWO had the red and the white, the red and black and white and black? Yeah. But then they just accepted like 8 million wrestlers, and I was like, this is stupid. You're getting bad. Aces and Eights started doing that, but I love that entire storyline.
So
and then the other part that was messed up is they did the flashback on Impact, and they showed Luke Gallows getting unmasked.
Yeah. So they're also talking about a former world champion coming back. So that could be EC3. That could be Eric Young. That could be. Let me see who else was a world champion. Bully Ray.
That would make more sense if you're doing the aces and eights.
Yeah. So. That's what I'm kind of thinking. So I'm kind of excited about it. I mean, the card they had, it was decent. I mean, they had Diana Purrazzo, taking on Eddie Edwards' wife. I don't really think she's a really good wrestler, but
she's not.
She always gets squashed all the time. But the build up, and I think this was the very first one that I didn't see Rosemary on. So unless I missed it or something.
I didn't see her.
Yeah, she wasn't on that one. So
no,
but it's good to talk about this one because it was not even about the card. It was mostly like what's happened. But
so bad. But you know what though? With everything that's going on, you've got to call them out now because if you don't, then it's going to be very bad. But yeah, it's just interesting to see with this transition over to WWE. WWE has a really bad problem, like with Randy Orton. How many times did Randy Orton's thing get covered up?
Yeah, that's true.
And I saw a report that was talking about it, that they're like, if they're doing this, and people get let go, what are you going to do about Randy Orton? Because you can't just say, oh, that happened before this did it. It's fine. So that worries me too, because he's been put on administrative leave or whatever you call it so many times while they've dealt with it. So I don't know what it's going to be, but I saw the report where they said the dream's pretty much numbered. But then the NXT UK, Tyler, I got confused. Tyler Bates, the good young boy. And I got confused when I saw it, and I thought it said Tyler Breeze, and I had to think, I'm like, why is Tyler Breeze on this list? Because I love Tyler Breeze. Yeah. And I had to reread it 3 times. I'm like, oh, no, not Tyler. But now Pete Dunne is getting investigated because his name's on that big list. It's like a quarter of the NXT UK lineup is just all being hit for the Speak Up movement.
Allegations and stuff. Let's jump over to AEW.
Yes.
The best thing that probably the best match that I watched was SCU versus FTR. That was probably the best match, and it was a good setup for Fighter Fest.
Yes.
So I'm really happy for FTR. I'm so happy for them because they're finally in their element, and I think for a while I didn't think they were mentioned as one of the great tag teams of the world, and I changed my mind on it. So they were used properly in AEW, and then they got the curse of the call up. So I that's one thing I want to say about AEW is I hope they can make new, because I read a report that said if they don't start making new content that they could lose their TV contract, and I hope that's not the case. Because they are so good at using the people that have been misused. And that's a sign that, one, Tony Khan is trusting whoever their talent acquisition scout is. I don't even know who that is. Because I know Billy Gunn is over the production. Yeah.
And I don't know.
Cody and Kenny and the Bucks.
I would really hope that they let JR do talent acquisition, because he was talent acquisition for WWE for a long time. Yeah. But that shows that no matter what, Tony Khan is trusting the talent acquisition, and talent acquisition is trusting Tony Khan to use it, because it doesn't matter what your talent acquisition does. If you're the big boss, you get the final say so. That's why McMahon still has all that power hold, because he makes all the rules. So I like that AEW's, I'm going to say it's like a symbiotic relationship. Like, they're trusting each other, and it shows in their content.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I agree with you on that.
Yeah. And talk about another part of AEW with Brody Lee. He fought John Moxley. He lost to John Moxley. We talked about that.
Yeah.
it was a good way to protect your person. But now if you look at it, like, they haven't buried him kind of like what other productions would have done.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a thing working with Colt Cabana.
Yeah.
And now they're going to elevate each other up because Colt Cabana is a really great wrestler. You know, he's one of those wrestlers that you didn't really know about.
Yeah.
Unless you follow the independent scene, or if you follow ROH, they're still independent. I don't care what anybody says. But now he's over here, and they're telling a good story. Like, he's a great wrestler.
Yeah.
He just hasn't been able to get over the big hurdle. So now look what he got on Fyre Fest. It's him and Brody Lee versus
SCU.
Who is it?
SCU.
SCU.
What I love about that one is that a couple of weeks ago, the Dark Order was attacking SCU, and Colt Cabana came in their defense and helped them out, and against the Dark Order. And now it's switched. So now he's with the Dark Order. And now they're taking on
such
SCU.
a good story.
So that's
it's such a good story.
To me, that says a lot about Tony Khan and his group. So I mean, that's good storytelling.
It is, and like I said, people will tell you, like the WWE fanboys or the people that just want to poop on it. The same thing happens with WWE. You have the AEW fanboy stuff. Like they want to say, like, the biggest thing they say is AEW. Oh, it's great, but they're still not doing storylines. There's so many seeds that they're planting.
Yeah,
and they're coming to fruition. But unless you actually are looking for them, you don't see them. And it's just so good. And I'm very happy that they're nurturing them, and they're letting them develop naturally. And that's why you may not see it, because you got to look for it. Kind of like, if you look at it, they let Braun Strowman nurture naturally, like in WWE, and here. So, but AEW, they're doing very good. They're not just pushing someone down your throat. They're letting it nurture, letting you see it come to fruition, and then boom, there it is. Great
example of that is Orange Cassidy against Chris Jericho.
Oh my God,
that was like a big build up for that one. It was like great. I love it.
And I like it too, because the thing with Orange Cassidy is his whole gimmick is, I'm relaxed until you push me, and then I can show you that I can wrestle. And a lot of people say, oh, Orange Cassidy can't wrestle, blah, 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 blah. But did you see that Superman punch he threw?
Yeah.
Like, that was a really good Superman. And if you even look at it, like when he does the moves with his hands in his pocket, when's the last time you saw a really big name in the WWE do any moves, like jumping off of your back with your hands in your pockets, or doing a front flip and rolling like smoothly, like parkour level with your hands in your pockets, or do a front flip and then roll out of the ring without hitting the ring and getting caught in it. Like, he is an amazing athlete, and he is an amazing wrestler.
And you know what?
I'm very happy.
You know what's great about him too is that he doesn't need to do a promo to get over, and he doesn't need to talk a lot to get his point across, whether he's happy or he's mad or whatever. It's like,
facial features.
Yeah, whenever he was rolling away from like Pac, whenever Pac was trying to do his finisher, and he would roll it, and Pac got down off the ring, walked around, and he would just like, he turned and looked at him and just smiled, and then rolled back into the ring. To me, that sold everything to me. I said, man, that's great. That's great storytelling.
And that's one thing about AEW is they're not trying to. If you look at a lot of other promotions, like, oh, okay, I know your storyline, I know your gimmick. We're just going to change that and make you into this. They're not doing that. They're like, this is what brought you to the dance. We're going to let you still do that. And whenever you do that, it shows the genuineness. Kind of like if you ever listen to like Paul Heyman when he talks, he says everything he says. The reason why you believe him is he believes 95% of the things he says.
Yeah.
If you're going to be genuine, you have to believe it. So with them letting them be who they are, they don't have to try to pretend to be this when they're not really this. They're this. That's how they're presented, and now they're comfortable. They believable. They believe what they're doing, and then that just shows on the TV, and it makes everything more believable in a sport where you have to use your imagination. So I really like that.
Let's jump over to NXT.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you this question because I was kind of confused because I think I missed when I was in South Dakota, I didn't get a chance to watch NXT.
Yes.
So NXT Cruiserweight Champion, did he take the mask off? Santos?
Yes, you missed it. Yes. So while you were gone,
I saw that. I go, what the hell? Because I like his mask.
Let me tell you something. So the man that we have done research, my crack team of wrestling researchers, which is just me, myself, the man who is actually King Cuerno. The man who's actually King Cuerno, not Damian Priest King Cuerno. Just a second. Oh, looks really good, baby. Good job. Sorry, my daughter showed me a picture she made for my mom for her birthday. Nice. Anyways, so what happened is the first week we didn't do anything. They showed the thing where Drake Maverick was trying to be his friend.
Yeah.
And then the next week, he came out because that showed that thing where he like slammed him on the table, and he came out and he's all like, "Oh, joke on you. I'm going to win that cruiserweight title from you, blah, 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 blah." And then the two mask guys that kept trying to kidnap everybody got in the ring.
Yeah.
So Jake Maverick is like, "Oh, I'm going to help protect you." And then King Cuerno kind of went off to the side. And then, exactly. I don't know his real name, but he's King Cuerno in Lucha Underground. I call him King Cuerno. They were going to attack him, and then he's like, "I'm going to fight with you because even though you're my enemy, these people are my enemy." And then they all just turned on Drake Maverick. And then he beat up Drake Maverick, and then he tore off his mask. And then his two associates tore their mask off, but then they all introduced themselves. So I thought it was really cool. Sorry about that. But yeah, that's what happened there. And then he did that, and then he talked about how his mask is going to define him. He is your cruiserweight champion. He's going to make his own name, basically, is what he said.
I don't know if I'm a fan of that.
Now here's the thing. I mean, everybody, it's the story that they tell.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's like, my heritage is lucha, but I'm going to make my own name. I mean, that's the story they tell in all different circles. But when he took his mask off, I was like, oh my God, King Cuerno's a badass. Like, I saw it's not like Excalibur. I've seen a picture of Excalibur without his mask on, and I want to punch his face repeatedly. I don't like Excalibur without a mask. Like, he looks smug and arrogant. But when he took off his mask, he had the villainous smug arrogance, and I'm like, oh my God, he's a good bad guy. Like, immediately sold me with the facial expressions, and I was like, I like this guy. So he's making it work for himself.
The best match of the night was that three-way with Balor, Keith Lee.
Oh my gosh.
And
Gargano.
Yeah, that was the best match.
Yeah.
I love that one. That was really, really good. I mean,
so good. Good.
Keith Lee can move so quick, man. He's like a polecat.
Dear God, he's like 15 year ago Samoa Joe TNA fast.
Yeah, and he's really good.
He can do so many moves that you don't think a big guy should be able to do. I really love Keith Lee.
So they're really pushing him. They're really pushing him.
Yes. And now I'm confused and I'm torn because he won that match, and next week is winner take all. And we've talked about this. If you take the title from Adam Cole, where's he going to go? I've heard him say repeatedly, if he ever has to leave NXT, he'll go to another promotion. Yeah. And they're not going to lose one of their biggest draws. But if you make Keith Lee lose, what is he going to go for?
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to, because he has made the NXT and North American title. Like, I understood it was held by the Undisputed Era, and that was all part of a storyline, like everybody's gold. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if you take it from him, what are you going to do? Now, granted, they could take it from him, and then their next big takeover, it could just be Adam Cole NXT American Championship versus him. He doesn't have to put both back on the line.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting, but yeah, both of them amazing pushes, and they're both really great athletes. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on that match.
Yeah, WWE's not going to let Adam Cole go.
No, God, no. They can't. And that's why Tommaso Ciampa isn't ever leaving NXT, because he said he would go somewhere else too.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at the track record, they're not wrong. Why would you get the curse of the call-up? For them to destroy your character and be a mid-carder? But here's the thing. Dexter Lumis, we have, just briefly, he is so amazing. He's in Roddy Strong's head, and that whole match psychology of, we have Kyle O'Reilly back. We're a family. I'm going to do this. So then Bobby Fish comes out and he's like, gets in. He's like, nope, not going to do this. He's like, no, I got this. I'm going to go in. Nope. You know what I'm saying? Like Roddy Strong, you know, Dexter Lumis is great. He doesn't say a word. He has that 1,000,000-yard stare, but Roddy Strong selling the fear. It's one thing to be fearful. It's another thing to pretend to be fearful. And Roddy Strong is doing really great. Like, he's tapped into some underlying angst that he has, and I believe that he's really afraid and fearful of Dexter Lumis. But then when he turned it on Bobby Fish and then scared Bobby Fish and he ran off, I was like, this is so good. Like, one man is systematically tearing UE apart just by staring at them and not saying a word.
I know,
and it's just so good.
He's bringing creepy back,
and it's a good creepy too. And that's what I'm saying. What we talk about, like when's the last time you heard Dexter Lumis cut a promo?
I never have.
Never. Velveteen Dream had one, and he snuck up behind and put the picture and then went away. That was silent comedy at its finest. I loved it. And then I got mad whenever Velveteen Dream tore it up. I was like, why are you tearing? That was a great, whoever drew that was amazing artist. I was like, you've torn up a great picture. But before we get off NXT, I want to talk about the destruction. Not destruction. I'm just not very happy because the whole COVID thing has impacted AEW now. Like, I don't know if at Fyter Fest if they're going to have a world title match.
Yeah, rumor has it Mox is going to be clear by then. So,
but if it's 14 days, it's close. You have to be pushed to the July 8th showing.
Yeah, they probably pushed them into the second night. Maybe when?
Yeah, it has to be. Because July 1st is in 14 days.
Yeah.
Because this is the beginning of this Thursday will be like towards the end of the second week, because they didn't talk about it until I think 2 Sundays ago. So I don't know. It's just it's crazy because they said there's like 24 people. And if you look, I saw a thing about it where they were like, this isn't good, because the night Matt Riddle debuted, that was right around the time that they found out that she had tested positive. So you had AJ Styles in the ring, you had Matt Riddle, you had everybody around it. You had like 3/4 of your roster. So it's nuts. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be strange.
Yeah.
Let's jump to SmackDown real quick.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't get to watch any of it. I heard that they showed the Boneyard. Did you watch SmackDown?
Yeah, I watched it. It was really, like, to be honest with you.
Was it edited?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Okay. It was edited, and they had like a 4-way with the girls, and they had like a 8-man tag, and then they had one single match with Hardy and Corbin, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean,
what was the tribute match?
The tribute match was the Boneyard one.
The thing, it said tribute match, then I didn't see the colon, so I thought it was a match as a tribute, and then the Boneyard match. And I was like...
No, they Hardy tributed the match to beating Corbin to the Undertaker. He
that makes sense.
So, but after he beat Corbin, who else came? I think what's his name? Riddle came in and finished off after Hardy pinned Corbin. Riddle came in and did his finisher on him, and then what's his name? Braun Strowman came in and did the slam on him too, and they were just picking on him like really really bad. But it was, to be honest with you, it was the whole night was pretty much like just WWE superstars talking about the Undertaker. So it was.
Well, good. I mean, I saw the little report about it where he said unless there's like a pinch, he doesn't want to be in the ring anymore. Which I think that was like 12 years ago. He should have said that.
Yeah, I think the Boneyard match is a good match to go off on, though, because like
and he's talked about it. Yeah, I've heard him talk about it. He said like that was his idea of ending his career.
Yeah, because like when that match was over, that match was like the top tweet for a couple days. I mean, that one was, and people were talking about he's back, and so if I were to retire, that's the way I want to go out.
But you got to remember, though, it's easy to retire whenever, because if you read about the Boneyard match, like he had like I don't know the exact percentage, but it was like 75 to 95% of the creative control. So when you have that much creative control, it's easy to have your going away. But it didn't work as well. It wouldn't have worked as well as it would have if AJ Styles wouldn't have been like, whatever you say.
Right.
That's what it needs to be, because if you're going to do that, like if you're like the Undertaker and AJ Styles, he is a match enhancer. He talked about it on the Broken Skull sessions. Yeah. If you look at any of his matches, he is a match enhancer. Whether he was the TNA X Division champion, Impact World champion, whatever you want to call it, he either makes the match, enhances it as the champion, because he's working with the other person, or he's a support player making it an amazing match. So you have to have that person that would be like whatever you want, but they also have to make your dream a reality. So I think AJ Styles was the perfect person for that.
Yeah.
To make it as great. Because if it had been anybody else, I don't think the Boneyard match would have been great as it was.
I think the way it says a lot about AJ right there, because AJ's he's great in the ring. He can work with anybody, but AJ had to slow himself down just to be up, next to the Undertaker. And if I was AJ, I'd be honored if that was the Undertaker's last match.
Yeah,
I was his.
Yeah, because Roman Reigns was supposed to be it, but Roman Reigns couldn't. That was a good match. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but Roman Reigns is not a match enhancer. He cannot. Now, when he wrestled with Braun Strowman, that was Roman Reigns' greatest matches.
Yeah.
But no, AJ Styles, I don't think anybody on that roster, maybe Daniel Bryan, is the only other person I could think of that's a match enhancer.
Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega.
But he's not in WWE now, is he? I'm saying on the roster, if you look on WWE's roster, the only other person there's not that many match enhancers. There's people who have great chemistry with each other, but like a universal match enhancer, there's not that many. I mean, I can only think of like AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan.
I think Cesaro could be there if they give him an opportunity.
That's what I'm saying. They don't. They like him as a mid-carder.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. But no, I like it. And I was watching one of the things he talked about on his little special that he has. And he talked about it where he said like Roman Reigns was supposed to be his final match, but he looks at that and he heard people snickering and he got mad. And he said, I'm going to make my last match the way I want it. And then 3 years later, boom, Boneyard match happened. So, but I was very happy with that match. I thought it was really good for being a cinematic match.
Yeah.
It had to go. It had to be the way, because if it was a pure wrestling match, no wrestling matches at this point in his life will be the one that puts him over. It had to have been that cinematic match.
If I was Roman, I'd be pissed.
I know I am. I would be, of course, because he retired with his little gear and then he came back the next year. So I would be very mad. so bad.
Hey man, it's great to be back talking to you about wrestling.
Man, I agree. I just like talking to you. I didn't talk to you for 2 weeks. My kids were asking, it's like, Daddy, are you doing that podcast still? I'm like, yeah, he's working vacation. Oh, okay. She just asked me that today. Daddy, are you going to podcast with your friend? I'm like, yep, sure am. Oh, okay. So,
I haven't met your kids, but I love them already.
Listen, I feel the same way about your nephews. Like, I haven't met your nephews, Steven's kids, but I love it when you guys talk about them because I'm like, oh. And then sometimes there's those videos that his wife shared and then he shared or that you're tagged in. I'm like, oh, these kids are amazing.
Yeah, I got them to both say too sweet. They both say too sweet.
That's awesome. My kids, that's the same way with the Iconics. Like, my kids love the Iconics. So when you do Iconic, they both do the match, and it's funny because they don't do the same pose. So like literally, they both like Peyton Royce. But one will do Peyton Royce and one will do Billy Kay, and they never switch. It's always the same person doing the same one. So I think it's funny. I love it. But
I like it.
I do. It's great.
Anyway, thanks for talking.
You're welcome.
We'll get you next week.
Yes.
And say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
I must bid you adieu, and so, goodbye, and good night, bang!